Yo, what is up guys? Welcome to another Wild Rift video, and in today's video I'm gonna show you guys a tier list for every single role in the game. And yet again, so much has changed, but especially what has changed today is I'll be addressing the underrated champions today. Normally I just talk about what the top champions are, but today I'm gonna be talking especially about the underrated champions, guys, because there are so many. Especially in this patch, I tried out so many champions and I found out that there are actually some champions that are really good that no one plays. So there's timestamps in the description if you just want to skip to the tier list. So let's get into it. Baron lane. We're going to quickly go over the top picks because we know it already. You know, Fiora, I've put her above Gragas right now. And the reason that I've put Gragas on the bottom of the S+ tier is because I feel like he doesn't have as much solo carry potential as these two right here. Fiora, you know, Fiora and Camille, they have really good solo carry potential. Gragas is just completely broken. Renekton is the same as these two. He has really good solo carry potential. Riven as well. And Malphite, I've put him up from the A tier to the S tier because guys, I played Malphite and oh my god, the Rod of Ages plus full tank build just is incredibly powerful. Irelia in the right hands is definitely S+ tier, but I still put her in the S tier because it's really hard to be the right hands for Irelia, right? Because she's really hard to play. She's really hard to play if you really want to be super good at her. I kind of want to skip some champions and I want to talk about Mundo here, guys. Oh my god, this champion is strong, and I haven't put him in the A, S or S+ tier yet, because you do have to pick him into a specific draft, which is against a lot of ability power champions. But if you have the right draft for him, whoa, he is strong, guys. He is really strong, and I'm working on a Mundo video. I am working on it, but this is an underrated champion. You have to give him a try, and as I said, I am working on a video, but my god, he is strong, guys. Another underrated champion is my boy Cannon, guys. Cannon is well, no, he's not incredibly powerful, but he's underrated. The potential that he has to just completely one-shot in a teamfight, to just provide so much CC in a teamfight is insane. But he has to be played the right way, and you have to play Cannon a whole different way from any other champion in the game. And Cannon as well, I'm working on a video, so I'm not gonna get into that right now. I'll make a video and I'll show you exactly, because let me tell you guys, Cannon he's really strong. He's really strong if you play him correctly. Jarvan as well, I've put him all the way on top of the A tier because Jarvan is really strong in the Baron lane. Actually, he has probably one of the strongest early games because his first ability deals so much damage. If you run him with Champion Rune, for example, and some other runes that that make him super strong in the early game, he actually deals so much damage in the early game. The poke, the harassment is really powerful. And then when you reach the late game, he becomes a really strong tank as well. Other champions that are very underrated are Nasus. You guys know that Nasus is underrated if you've watched my videos, right? Nasus is actually really strong if drafted correctly. We have Jax as well, the fastest turret pusher in the game, and Singed. I also want to talk about Singed because this is also one of those types of champions that no one plays for some reason. I really don't get it, to be honest, because these champions are not weak. They're not weak. They're actually strong. Why are people not playing them? Because you just have to play them correctly, and they're basically just as strong as some of the top tier picks in most drafts. It's I don't get it. I really don't get it. All right. So let's move on to the jungle list, and I actually made a whole nother tier in this one. As you can see, the S++ tier, guys. Lee Sin is just like it was really hard for me to do this, but the reason that I actually made an S++ tier is because firstly my tier list looked like this, right? It was Lee Sin, Camille, Pantheon, and then Xin Chao. But then I was like, man, this doesn't make sense. Lee Sin is 20 times better than these champions. Like, Lee Sin is unrivaled in the early game. Lee Sin has one of the strongest ganking potential in the game. One of the strongest turret diving potential in the game. He's the best at everything except for late game. That's the only thing that he's not the best at. He's literally the best at every single thing except for late game team fighting. That is it. So if you just play him to the powers that he has, he's completely utterly broken. And then here we have Camille. Actually, I'm gonna put Camille behind Pantheon because even though if you play with a team, Camille is better, but Pantheon is better in solo queue. He's really, really good with solo carrying. It's insane. I'm also gonna make a new Pantheon video very soon. It's absolutely incredible how much damage this champion deals, how good he is at ganking as well, and his ultimate, like if you play this champion correctly, he's really, really good in the jungle. His solo carry potential is really high. Xin Chao did take a hit from a nerf. He's still really good, but he's just sitting on the bottom of the S+ tier. He's just always a solid pick. His ultimate is like an absolute game changer. It can really turn the fight from a win to from a loss to a win, because you block all projectiles. He's just a really, really solid champion to pick in the jungle. Kha'Zix took a hit, by the way, guys. He did take a hit. That early game hit is hurting him. But the thing is, if you get to the late game, he's still the same old Kha'Zix. You can catch out enemies and completely demolish them. Nunu, which is the new champion, I'm just gonna do this with my hands. Not broken and not bad. He's good. He's just good. He outsmites everyone. But the only thing, like the thing about Nunu is he does not have any sustained damage, and it's honestly pretty easy to dodge his snowball. You can just run around walls, and in a game like Wild Rift, where the map is way smaller than League of Legends, it's actually quite easy to dodge his snowball. People kind of figured him out, so you know it takes away from his value, but he's still really, really powerful. His ultimate is good, his third ability, he has really good abilities, and of course the smiting potential, but still, you know, people are figuring him out. Rengar, even after the nerf, pretty, not completely broken, but really, really powerful. He has insane one-shotting potential, and in the last tier list video, I said that if that video reaches 2,000 likes, I'll actually pick up Rengar, learn the champion, and make a video. That video almost has 1,800 likes. Not quite 2,000, huh? So I can still relax, lay on the couch, watch some Netflix without having to try hard Rengar. I'm gonna give you guys another chance. If this video reaches 2,000 likes, besides all the new champions that I'm gonna be making videos of, I'm also gonna do Rengar. Well, you know, it's only fair to just let you guys do it again, right? And let me know in the comments which champion you want to see next. You know, I'm working on so many champions. Like there's probably only going to be like 5 champions in the game that I haven't covered yet, but I'm working on almost every single one right now, guys. So I'm curious what you guys want to see. And yes, I know you want to see Yasuo. I know. But okay, Wukong, very solid champion. Riven in the jungle, very underrated. It's actually really, really good. The only problem she has is ganking, but just her team fighting is completely broken. Evelynn has fallen off quite a lot. She still has that one-shot potential in the late game, but yeah. Master Yi has also fallen off after the nerf, and I want to talk about Rammus jungle and Mundo. These are some underrated junglers. See, the only problem is Rammus got a nerf, so he used to be way better than people thought, but now he got a nerf, so he's still not bad. Like if the enemy is full attack damage, he's still broken actually. But that how often is that really gonna happen, right? And yet again, I want to repeat about Mundo. Mundo jungle is really powerful. It's more like I've still put him on the bottom here, but I feel like if you pick him into the right comp, well, it's not that I feel like I know. If you pick him into the right comp, he's actually at least he's at least at the bottom of the S tier. But the thing is, the right comp is not gonna happen too often for him. Like he's really good against ability power, but he's not good against anti-healing. He's not good against attack damage. You know, that's kind of the problem with Mundo. Okay, on to the mid lane, and here we got Brand. Remember, guys? In the last tier list, I didn't know where to put Brand, but he was actually in the S++ tier, and he received a massive nerf. He's not bad right now. He's actually still strong. And I was like thinking about putting him on the bottom of the S+ tier, but the nerfs are huge. Like if you guys haven't seen it already, they put it on Twitter. The nerfs are so big that I feel like he's still gonna be really good, but not broken anymore. On the S+ tier, we still have Ziggs. We still have Zed. You know, Ziggs, the thing with Ziggs is there's no other champion that can deal as much damage as Ziggs. So just if you can position correctly, you can keep throwing bombs on the enemy. Ziggs deals the most damage out of every single champion in the game. Zed has incredible assassination potential, and you know, still after that nerf, do you guys remember the nerf to the mid lane champions? They all received an armor nerf. That's what made Zed super strong. Ahri feels way stronger than she should to me. Like her early game potential is really big. The ganking, the early game team fights is really, really big. And also in the late game, you can catch out enemies with that stupid charm on Ari. And even though she may not be a really good late game champion, she can still provide huge value if you catch out the right target with that stupid charm of hers. And then Galio, he's in the S plus tier if you pick him into the right draft. But it's really easy to pick him into the right draft. That's why I put him in the S plus tier, because all you gotta do is pick him into these melee ability power champions like Akali, like Diana, like Katarina, like Fizz, you know, maybe even Gragas. If you pick him against those champions, S plus tier, you're gonna have a free lane and you're gonna deal so much damage and provide so much CC. Diana, really powerful. She has a lot of DPS, and I was actually undervaluing her quite a lot in my recent tier list, but now I actually saw how strong she really is. Irelia, you know, same as the Baron lane, just she's completely broken in the right hands, but she's even more broken in the mid lane than the Baron lane. That's why I haven't put her in the S plus tier, because it's still really hard to play. Like, I've played Irelia and it's really, really hard to play, but she's broken. She's pretty broken. Twisted Faith, you know, if you can get to the late game, provides incredible CC, has really good ganking, just a very solid champion. Katarina has fallen off a little bit because of that nerf, but still, it's the same as Irelia. In the right hands, completely broken. Now I want to talk about Akali, because Akali is not that strong anymore. She's still strong, don't get me wrong, she's still a very solid pick, but you guys remember how broken Akali has always really been. But that recent nerf, just they kept nerfing her and nerfing her and nerfing her. And then after that recent nerf, which nerfed her laning potential, she hasn't become that strong anymore. She's only good at assassinating now. She doesn't win every single lane anymore, which she used to. So her lane presence is not as strong anymore, but her assassination is still just as strong. That's why she's still on top of the S tier. Here's Yasuo. I forgot him in my recent tier list, but Yasuo, you should really pick him if you have some knockups in your team. Like if you have a Wukong or a Malphite or an Alistar in your team, pick up Yasuo. If by the way, if that's the case, if you have a lot of knockups, it actually instantly makes him top of the A tier. But I put him here because if you pick him without a lot of knockups, he's still solid, but not as strong, of course, right? Because the potential that you have with a Malphite or a Wukong is unrivaled compared to just a Yasuo. And I want to talk about Aurelion Sol, guys. This is the champion that so many of you want to see. And I am playing him, and that's the reason that I want to talk about him. He's underrated. If you are good at this champion, he's an absolute monster in the late game. But see, the problem is the early game. And like, the thing about Aurelion Sol, he only has one thing that he's good at, which is ganking. Roaming around and ganking. And if you do not do that, you're gonna get super ahead because your laning is super weak. You're gonna lose lane, and your team fighting is not gonna be as strong until you reach the late game. Until you get at least 2 items, that's when your team fighting is gonna get better. But that's the problem of him, because it's really hard to play effectively. But once you reach that late game Aurelion Sol, he's like in the late game, he's actually S plus tier. But reaching that late game, that's the different story behind it. And that's why he's still sitting in the B tier. But he has gone up from the D tier to the B tier. That's already a step, right, guys? Okay, on to the Dragon lane. And a lot has changed here. I used to have Varus in the S plus tier, but after playing him and after seeing him, he doesn't have that solo carry potential like the other champions. He doesn't have the solo carry potential of Vayne. He doesn't have the solo carry potential of Jinx, of Kai'Sa, of Ezreal, of these types of champions that do a lot of damage per second. He has incredible poke, he has incredible CC, but he doesn't have solo carry potential. And that's why I've lowered him from the S plus tier to the S tier in solo queue. If this would be pro, like competitive, he would be in the S plus tier, but it's not. It's solo queue. We have Ezreal in the S plus tier because this champion is just completely broken. You have to be good at him though. That's the only thing with Ezreal. It's actually not an easy champion to play like Jinx or Kai'Sa. He's actually really skilled because you have to hit your skill shots, right? Otherwise he doesn't do any damage. But if you can hit his skill shots, S plus tier, he deals so much damage, unrivaled in the late game, maybe only rivaled by Vayne. But besides that, unrivaled in the late game. He deals the most damage in the late game. Here we have Kai'Sa. The thing about Kai'Sa is always a good pick. And at every stage of the game, she's strong. That's why she's in the S tier. She's just always good. If you don't know what to pick, just pick Kai'Sa. And here we have Vayne, also in the S tier. Vayne is just like... she's not as strong as she used to be because the Solaris Charge Blade took a hit. But still... Vayne is so strong after that recent buff to her second ability as well. Really powerful in the meta. And if the enemy doesn't have major CC and a lot of range, you should just pick Vayne because you can run down the enemy and completely solo carry those solo queue games. Jinx is on top of the A tier. If you pick Jinx with a Lulu, she's actually on top of the S tier. Here she is. Without a Lulu, she's here. Jinx is actually quite underrated. I don't see a lot of people play Jinx, but Jinx is really easy to play, and I have a lot of videos on Jinx, so make sure to watch them if you want to play ADC and get good at Jinx, because this champion has so much solo carry potential. I have a 65% win rate on Jinx, and there is a reason for that, because Jinx is so strong, especially with Lulu, by the way, but even without Lulu, she's really solid. And here we have Akshan. See, the thing about Akshan is, and I have an Akshan video coming very soon, do not worry guys, besides the fact that he literally looks like me. I mean, let's put it next to my face. Look at this. Wait, sorry. Here, look at this guy. Literally looks like me. Why? What is that? He's really strong, and the thing is, he might not have the most damage per second. He's really good at singling out an enemy, and he has really good poke in the lane as well with that first ability and his basic attacks and his passive, which gives him the barrier. And the other thing, the main reason that Akshan is in the A tier is because of that stupid passive of the second ability. If you know how to play around that one, which is killing an enemy scoundrel revives the ally that person killed, this passive is probably one of the strongest passives in the entire game, if used correctly. As an Akshan, if you just play him correctly in teamfights, which is, wait for your teammates to engage, wait for an enemy to get low, and then finish off that enemy and revive your allies, if you do that effectively, Akshan can be completely broken in the late game. That passive is broken in the late game if used correctly. And here we actually have Mastery, but that's not Mastery, that's Ashe. The only reason is because there is no Ashe in this tier list for some reason. Ashe is underrated. Ashe is one of the most underrated champions in the game right now, and I'm gonna make an Ashe video soon as well. This champion doesn't have solo carry potential, but she can just provide so much value to her team because her passive, if you slow an enemy, the enemy is gonna take bonus damage from all of your teammates. Your ultimate has that insane CC. She has really good poking with the second ability. She just has so many slows. That's what it is. And that's what makes Ashe not horrible. I'm not saying she's good. I'm not saying she's good because she's not. But she has a lot of range. She provides a lot of slows, and she weakens the enemy, which is really strong. It's definitely not bad. But the early game, she's useless. That's kind of the problem of it. Draven, honestly, only if you're a one-trick Draven or really good at Draven, you should pick him. Otherwise, do not pick him. He's just not that strong. And this guy, buff Jhin, please. Buff Jhin. Jhin is my favorite champion. Jhin used to be my most played champion. Why is he not getting a buff? Please. Can you please buff Jhin? I want to play this champion again. This is my favorite champion. It's just sad times, honestly, without Jhin. But okay, let's move on to the support tier list. And I've put Senna down from the S+ tier to the S tier, even though I am probably one of the best Sennas in the game. And I've carried so many games on Senna. I still have to stay objective here and put her in the S tier, because the thing is, she's not that strong in solo queue as she is in team queue. Look, I'm not saying she's bad, because she's still on top of the S tier. She's just not as strong as Nami and Braum. That's all I'm trying to say right here. Nami has incredible, this champion is pretty broken. I almost even put her on the S++ tier, but the thing is, Braum feels just as strong, especially after playing with Keys, which is the top 1 Braum of the server. And I've played a lot of duo queue with him. He really showed me that there is more to Braum than just putting your shield up and using that first ability to slow an enemy. The ultimate is so powerful. The second ability allows for crazy mobility. The first ability does a lot of damage, and just everything that Braum has to offer is so good. And especially if you also build like a Randuin's Omen on him, combine it with the with the damage reduction of the third ability, you can just you're gonna be so tanky, and you're gonna reduce the attack speed of the enemies. It's just such a good champion. He's so good. That's what I'm trying to say. Senna, still really powerful, really powerful. Just these two champions are stronger. Lulu, also kind of broken if you pick him, not him. If you pick her with the right champions, which is Vayne, Tristana, Jinx, Kai'Sa, these types of attack speed heavy champions, she's really good with. Thresh, very underrated. He got a really solid buff recently, and he's stronger than people think, but he's really hard to play. That's the thing with Thresh, guys. He's really hard to play. But if you get good at Thresh, S tier. Rakan, really good as well. He's just so powerful, and you can also pick Rakan in the mid lane. Actually, I'm quickly gonna go back to the mid lane tier list. I didn't put him in the mid lane, but you can actually run full AP Rakan in the mid lane. It would probably be somewhere around the B tier, like somewhere here. It does work, but it's not, it's worth exploring. I might explore it a little bit, but it's possible. Like full AP Rakan, but also tank Rakan. And both of these are viable in the support role. He's just really solid, Galio is good because he has really good lane poking with that first ability. But as I said, you really want to be picking Galio against ability power champions. So if the enemy picks like a Ziggs Dragon Lane or a Seraphim with a Sona or something like that, you can actually pick Galio support because it's really good against those champions because you have a lot of magic resist, and just the way that Galio works, it's good against ability power. Brand support, really good. It's a very oppressive champion and allows you to play your lane very aggressively. Alistar has gotten down because after talking to a lot of challenger players and observing myself, I realized that Alistar actually really struggles against these other champions like Braum, Nami, Senna, Lulu. It's true that Alistar has really good turret diving potential, but if you look at level 1, Alistar is very weak at level 1. You can't do anything. And at level 2, the only thing that you can really do is engage with that second ability, and that's it. That's really it. But besides that, you're gonna get outpoked super hard when you pick Alistar. By the way, the Senna Nasus strategy has become significantly weaker because they nerfed Liandry's and they nerfed Font of Life scalings with ability power. It's not bad. It's not bad, Nasus support with Senna, but it's not broken anymore. That's what I'm trying to say. Actually, I shouldn't put it here. I should put it here. This was a mistake because it's definitely not that bad. It's still pretty good. And here, instead of Master Yi, it's Blitzcrank because the list doesn't have Blitzcrank either. Blitzcrank is just like, if you're good at landing hooks, pick Blitzcrank. Otherwise, he's just completely useless because that's the only thing that Blitzcrank has to offer. That's kind of the thing. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you put down a comment under this video because I'm doing a skin giveaway. Make sure you give the video a like. And yeah, that was it for the tier list of today. And I will see you all in the next Wild Rift video. Bye bye.